all their growing pains. He got a lot of opportunity to play.
Did Isaac grabs his left knee. Oh, in a lot of pain. Jonathan on Okoro, he goes down and grabbing his left knee. Markelle Fultz in a lot of pain. The foul is on Okoro.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Omar here with the new guest, Josh. What's up, Josh?
I'm good, Omar. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. So this is episode 4, I believe, of the Magic Weekly episode. Just came off the loss of Dallas Mavericks. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Josh's links will be in the description. Let's talk about it. The Mavericks, it was a different game against what they played against Houston. They just didn't shoot the ball well. Shot to Gordon, he defended Luka very well. It happened to be Tim Hardaway Jr. Trey Burke just killed us everywhere else.
Is it me or do they always kill us when we play them? They never go off against any other team. When we verse them,
especially, has always been a thorn to our side specifically. I don't get it.
I don't either, bro. Like, I feel like he was going off in the first half, but I feel like we contained him better. And then the second half, when we went on that run, they put them back. Like Rick Carlisle put Tim Hardaway Jr. and Trey Burke back in the game. And then everything went downwards for the Magic. We couldn't even score, not even on open shots. And they could take 3 after 3 after 3. And it was too much.
So with all the injuries, especially for the bench unit now, this is how it looked back a couple of years ago when Terrence Ross had nobody offensive minded on the bench. That's what it looks like now. He has like 2-3 bodies coming at him, and he can't do anything when he forces up shot. It's a problem. And if he doesn't shoot, no one else can see the shoot. And then another injury, Jordan Bone gets hurt now. He's probably been the concussion protocol.
You know, I was saying beforehand, I didn't think that Jordan Bone was the right player to fill in for MCW. I feel like we have the money, we have the cap space because of Jonathan Isaac's injury. They can apply for another option with Markelle Fultz. I feel like we should pick up somebody. I'm perfectly fine with waiving anybody that's not in our starting lineup right now, as long as their names aren't Terrence Ross or Mo Bamba or Cole Anthony. I'm cool with that. Waive whoever you need to waive in order to sign somebody. You know, there's Jamal Crawford, Isaiah Thomas, just a few options. I mean, we need something because nobody on the bench besides Terrence Ross is going to step up. Kem Birch I respect the hell out of him, especially this year, but he's not going to do anything special for us. Mo Bamba, Clifford seems to be lost about how to use him right now. If Terrence Ross doesn't have it going, nobody's going to have it going on the bench. I'm just going to say that much. So we need somebody else to come off the bench now for us because now Cole Anthony's in the starting lineup. We don't know how long MTW is going to be out for. We need to sign somebody before it's too late, unless they want to tank.
So, I want to ask about tanking in a little bit, but
yeah,
all the depth that we knew was going to be on this bench this year, it's all in the starting lineup right now.
That's true because
Ennis is in the starting lineup. Cole's in the starting lineup. Bacon, for what I've seen, he's played great, but he's in the starting lineup now. Michael Carter-Williams is out. He's supposed to be 1 or 2 weeks. Evan Fournier is out. And this team looks a lot better with Evan Fournier. I hope a lot of people that didn't like Evan realize that now, that this team needs Fournier. And we're about to see the Evan Fournier from last year when he gets back. I hope people know this, that Cole Anthony, the game is moving very fast for him. He needs to be able to slow a little bit down and have a little bit of others playmake for him. And he can create shots for his own, and create for other teammates, but he needs help right now. And it's going to be the European brothers again of Evan Fournier. If people might not like it, but it is what it is if this team wants to win games, because it's not going to happen another way. Clifford has Aaron Gordon looking like Hedo Turkoglu today.
And that's the thing, like, that's the problem with Aaron Gordon. That's the problem I've always had with him. I've been a supporter of Aaron Gordon since he's been drafted, but he's never been able to consistently get that 3-point shot up. I think it was in the beginning of the 2018 season. He was shooting
like 50%.
Yeah, he was shooting so well. And then in the second half of the season, it dropped. And ever since then, it's been lost. And that I think it was against the Cavs. He shot like 6 for 9 or something from three, and everybody was like, "Yo, this is the AG we need." And like he disappears. He shows up once every 4 games, and that's not okay. If you
So
want to have a future on this team, if you want to be considered one of the young stars of this generation, you got to show up every single game. This isn't time to show up once every 5 games, especially with all the injuries that we have.
so to give Gordon credit, after the 6 for 9 game, he went 2 for 2 the next night. I'm just gonna throw the Houston game away. No one shot, no one did anything.
No, I give him credit.
And then tonight he shot 1 for 7 from three. Everyone else that's not named Terrence Ross. I mean, even Terrence Ross. And anyone not named Nikola Vucevic didn't shoot well. And can't really blame. I'm not gonna sit here and argue AG for this game. You know, season high, 36 minutes. Locked up Luka for the most part. Played great defense. Playmate. I'm not gonna sit here and bash him for the one fault he had this game. I can't sit here and do that. We'll see what happens against Milwaukee once hopefully Evan plays. We'll see then. But for this game, I'm not gonna hold AG shooting to him.
Yeah, I won't either because he played great defense on Doncic. I mean, until that last fourth quarter. But then again, he is a magical talent, so you can't really. There's no really way to guard him, so you can't really fault AG. But for the first 3 quarters, like he held him to a very low shot, and I gotta give props to him. But I mean, damn, like he can never be consistent with his shot. It looked at the beginning of the first quarter, he looked good.
Yeah.
And then he took him out, coach took him out, came back in, which is how it usually is in the first quarter with AG. And then he was lost for the rest of the game. Besides playing great defense, he was lost. And if him and Terrence Ross doesn't have that connection going on, our whole bench is screwed. And it showed tonight.
So I think we saw what Mo Bamba did against DeMarcus Cousins, the whole fourth quarter stint he had against Houston. He looked great as time went on, and it's clear that he just needs to play more, and he's gonna look great. Because at the beginning of the set, I'm like, this doesn't look like Bamba from last year. Like he's not putting a body on screens. What is he doing? And but as time went on, he put more body on screens. He hit a post, hit 2 threes, got a block, got 12 points and 7 rebounds in like 13 minutes. So I have faith in Mo, but Cliff has to play him. And if he says that he's figured out how to play Vooch and Birch together, then play Mo Bamba. Because then I don't want to hear that Birch can't play before, because Clifford has stated that he's figured out, like he did in the bubble, that Vooch and Birch can play together. We've seen Birch improve. Play both of them, whether it be if Birch only plays next to Vooch at the 4, then so be it. But Mo has to play. That shooting's gonna expand the bench so much better.
And here's the thing, like he's already used to using like 3 same position players. He did the same thing last year with Markelle Fultz, DJ Augustine, Michael Carter-Williams. He did whatever he could to make sure Michael Carter-Williams got minutes. He could, if he says he can play Birch and Vucevic together, you should have no problem bringing up Mo Bamba off the bench to make sure he's part of the rotation. But literally, he played so well last night. And what happened today? Got 0 playing time after scoring 12 points in 13 minutes. And this is the problem I have with Coach Cliff. Like, he doesn't use him the way he's supposed to be used. And I know the season's riddled with injuries. I don't think he should be on the hot seat or anything. But this is something management has to talk to him about. Like, he's supposed to be a center for the future. Why is this guy getting 0 minutes when he's fully healthy? I don't want to hear the excuse, oh, it was a better matchup. No, that's not an excuse. He's our center for the future. Get him ready.
So at the beginning of the year, I'm not gonna lie. I really have no problem not playing Mo, especially because how well Birch have been playing. But dude, there's no depth, and you're making Mo seem like he's the 15th man on this roster, which is
especially
not.
at a time like this. We're an injured team.
Like,
our team
why do you have
injured?
more faith in Gary Clark than Mo Bamba? Because that's what it looks like.
Yo, don't bring up Gary Clark, bro. I'm about to go off on this guy.
I'd rather have Birch playing the 4 behind AG. And if you want to stagger that, AG and Vooch open and close games together, and Birch usually plays with Vooch and maybe AG after 3, screw it. We don't have another choice, but Mo has to be there to spread the floor. It's going to help Terrence Ross a lot. Whoever our point guard is, because I don't know if Jordan Bone's going to be there anymore. I don't know what they're going to do at the point guard spot. But this bench needs Mo Bamba, and they need him now.
it seems like every game somebody else is getting injured, and I wasn't laughing in a bad way, but I was literally laughing when I saw Bone get injured. I'm like, yeah, this is our luck.
When I
This
saw
is our luck.
when I saw the TV and he was like on the floor, I'm like, oh.
I didn't even see him on the floor until I saw like a review of what actually happened. I'm like, of course something happened to this guy. He's not even a key piece, but of course he got injured.
Bro, that's like our
backup point guard.
Bro, that's our fourth string point guard, bro. Like,
bro, they're really about to have AG playing point guard next game. That's really what's about to happen.
That's what he played to the here. Bro, I'm telling you, Clifford used AG like he was Hito this game. And it was something where I was like, and it worked. To AG credit, it did work.
Luka, it did.
Especially
he just didn't hit a shot, but it did work.
Luka isn't the greatest defender, so I guess that's why it works so well. It's gonna be a problem if it's gonna be Giannis on AG, because then that's not gonna be it. But Cole's next matchup is gonna be Jrue Holiday.
Oh. Bro, I'm seeing Tyrese Halliburton do his thing in Sacramento. I'm seeing Tyrese Maxey do his thing in Philadelphia. Obviously, LaMelo Ball, we knew how he was going to be, but like even he's special. And I'm seeing Cole Anthony. He had open shots today, all right? I was watching the entire game. He had open shots. He missed all those open shots. And I'm just thinking, bro, who did we just draft? I know it's early into the season. I'm not trying to like cause problems or anything for Cole Anthony, but damn, this guy needs to step up. If there's any time to step up for a rookie, it's now when we have nobody. But he's lost right now.
All right, so if we're gonna be fair here, Halliburton plays off the bench. Other than tonight, Maxey usually comes off the bench. There was just only 7 people that played for Philly. He took 32 shots.
Yeah, that's true.
Cole Anthony really has been thrown into the fire, and it's tough for Cole. I'm gonna wait a while because I think his shot is gonna get there, because that's what we were told when we drafted Cole Anthony. He's gonna be
that's why we drafted the guy.
So I think Cole's gonna get there. I'm not worried, but eventually he's going to have to hit shots.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has the spunk too. He has the energy and the vibe that he's gonna get through. I have faith in him. I think he's gonna get.
He has that swag to his game. You know, like he's not afraid of those moments. Like we saw, I don't know if you saw the preseason game against the Hornets when he went off.
Yeah, he bullied LaMelo. He's gonna have it.
Yeah,
I think
he has it.
Tough that his first start happened to be against John Wall,
and
now he's gonna have to do it against Jrue Holiday.
It made it worse because John Wall just came back from I think it's an ACL injury, but he was basically out for 2 years because he got injured and had a setback out for last season. And I was like, yeah, we don't want to talk about the Rockets game. We want to act as if it never happened. But it just shows tonight that Cole Anthony, he has to keep working on that shot. He has to keep developing, because we finally drafted a guard. We've been praising this moment for so long. And now we finally have it. And he's not hitting open shots. That has to change.
I think it will. So to get into it, because I know it's a very polarizing subject between Magic fans, is does this team tank or do they compete? Where do you stand?
I don't want to tank, and here's why. Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz wouldn't want us to. They wouldn't want us, whether you throw the games or you're just not putting enough effort, that would look bad on us. And I know they wouldn't want that. And personally, to me, I wouldn't want that. But at the same time, I know how stacked this draft class is. You know, if you could add maybe one more piece, because right now our young players, Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, Aaron Gordon, Mo Bamba, Cole Anthony. Those are our young.
I would add Chuma to that list.
Oh yeah, sorry, Chuma, I forgot. They're our young core. If we could add one more young, really good player, that could be nice for our future. But at the same time, I want to compete. I want to be in the playoffs. I don't care if it's a sweep in the playoffs. I want to be there because I want that energy. Like, you know, I've been a Magic fan since 2013. I know what it's like to be on the losing side of things.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed.
That wasn't like, I agree with you. I don't know if these fans weren't here when back then, but it really sucked.
It really did, man.
And what did tanking even get us? If we're being like no offense to who we drafted, but Where did tanking get us lucky in the lottery? When we got Victor, we didn't get the number 1 pick. Thank you, Cleveland, for dropping Bennett. But when we tanked to get into the Embiid, we got 4. And then we got 5 right outside of like Kristaps Porzingis, who we were gonna draft, but it was Hazonia. And when
don't bring up Hazonia right now.
But when we actually competed, we were gifted Sabonis, and Rob Hennigan managed to screw that up. But
bro, when I think about that guy, nothing good goes up on here. Nothing good happens in my mind. I think about the pain he caused Magic fans. I don't want to talk about this Rob Hennigan, bro. I had faith in him too. He drafted Aaron Gordon, Victor Oladipo, and I'm like, all right.
He drafted great talent. Like Hazonia was the only pick he missed, but he rushed it and he made mistakes. And the 2 trades that he made were detrimental, and it put this team in a hole. And I want to give credit to John Welton and his staff that they did a great job in only 2 or 3 years taking this team out of the hole and giving us a bright future.
That's true. I mean, the one good trade Hennigan made was getting Terrence Ross, whatever that good was. But yeah, we had Sabonis, we had Oladipo. I mean, we had Tobias Harris, but that's the thing. None of them developed here. And do you know why? Because half the players were older and they wanted to give Betts more minutes and everything. Like we had Channing Frye on this team and we started him over Aaron Gordon. Those people are supposed to come off the bench so your young players are in the starting lineup. But no. With our team, it was completely different because we didn't know how to run a stupid NBA team. At the time, we had freaking Jacques Vaughn as our head coach. Then we had his assistant, James Borrego, who's actually pretty good doing with the Hornets right now. And then our GM was freaking Rob Hennigan. And there's a reason he's on the league anymore.
So when Scouts took over, I really had an issue because there was a point when the starting five was EP, Vic, Harris, AG, and Vooch, and I started having a problem when they started messing with it, and they ended up starting Fournier, which I think that's what gives Rob. Gives that whoever the coach at the time, whether it be Scott Skiles, starting Evan over Vio was an issue, and that's what Rob Hennigan essentially did. He chose Evan Fournier over Oladipo, which we saw how that turned out, but so be it. But to get back to it, I this team's too talented to tank. They're going to win games. There's a lot of rosters that are going to be worse where this team's just going to out-talent them and win games. You're still going to have Aaron Gordon this year. You're still going to have Nikola Vucevic. You're still going to have Terrence Ross. This team's going to win games. And when this team, let's for argument's sake, because I saw a lot of people yesterday, especially in the middle of the Houston game, like saying, bro, this team is garbage. This team's not even able to compete. They're going to be in the play-in tournament. I'm like, okay, let's say magically like this team just doesn't hit anymore and our luck switches. You're going to sit there and tell me that Cole Anthony, Evan Fournier, let's say James Ennis, AG, Vooch, and then the backups would be like Marco Carter-Williams, Terrence Ross, Chuma Okeke, Aminu. When he comes back, maybe if he comes back, I don't know what his step back is. And
well,
like
he has to come back.
Mo Bamba, you're gonna sit there and tell me that team can't compete, or Birch and Bamba, you're gonna tell me that team can't compete? Like this. I think. Go ahead.
I think it could. Like, it's just a matter of is that direction the team wants to go in. Going back to should we tank or not? Because I'm saying we shouldn't, but I know a lot of people know that this draft class is stacked. So I don't know what the front office is thinking, but I know Coach Cliff ain't gonna tank for shit, bro. He's gonna make sure those players hustle, and I want to see them hustle. I want to see them play well, but I can't deny that there are some special talents in this draft. But I do want to compete. Like I do want to get wins and everything. It was so nice at the beginning of the year when we started off to that great start, and then sadly injuries happened. It got in the way. It's not even a month into the season. It's going to be a long season, but I don't want to tank because then it's not fun to watch. And then, yeah.
And I also want to give a lot of credit to Jeff Walton and Aaron, and as well that they've made it clear that they want to put young players and winning environments and creating a good culture for the team. Because that's how you gain respect from future free agents, that this team wanted to win. And that's how you know teams get better. Because as much as we say about Aaron Gordon, he hasn't really ever played with a healthy roster either. Like we've never seen him in a role that's actually been healthy.
That's true.
And we saw in the playoffs when this team was at its biggest health, he played great in the playoffs against Toronto. We saw what Markelle can do in the playoffs. We saw what Isaac can do in the playoffs against Toronto as well. If we get into the playoffs, it's going to give Cole Anthony, who hasn't been there yet, Mo Bamba that didn't play in the playoffs either time, and it's going to play Chuma Okeke in the playoffs, and Aaron Gordon another tick in the playoffs. And that's going to give four players of our core high pressure situation. And I think that's going to help the roster immensely.
Do you mind if I ask you something?
Go ahead.
If we compete and whether we play in the play-in tournament, regardless, if we make the playoffs and we lose in the first round, would you be okay with trading Vooch and Fournier to get up higher in this year's draft class?
I think if Fournier's still here past the trade deadline, he's walking. I don't think he's just going to walk. The only way you trade Vucevic is if you're determined and already know that Mo Bamba is ready to start. If not, you don't get another high-ranked rookie. You keep Vooch and you let the young players that you already have with a mix of veterans as Terrence Ross, or you get enough and you put Cole into the starting lineup next year and you get maybe like a Dinwiddie or a Derrick Rose in the offseason, and you mix with a young core that you already have and let them take the step forward with a group of good veterans. You don't need another rookie on this team. I think you already have enough because this essentially was supposed to be Markelle Fultz sophomore year. Mm-hmm. In Chuma's this rookie year, Cole's rookie. I think you have a good enough set of rookies and young players that you're not going to necessarily need to trade up for a pick. I think you try to develop the pieces you have now, because at the same time, that was also an issue back then that Orlando really didn't have any veterans to try to mentor their young players. That wasn't a thing. Like, I love CJ Watson. He wasn't going to help EP that much. Who was there to guide Vooch? No one really was there. Who was there to guard Victor? The backup was Evan Fournier. Channing Frye, I love Channing, but he doesn't play anything like AG, so no one was there to help him either. So I think this team has done a great job of getting veterans on this team, and I don't think they should change it much to where the point that you end up having too much of a young group with no veterans.
And I like the point you brought up about before, even if we do make the playoffs, it would still give the young guys a chance to play in high pressure situations. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly why we always need to compete for the playoffs, because regardless if we get swept, if we get gentlemen swept, our young guys are still going to gain that experience that they need to, because otherwise they're just playing meaningless games. But being in the playoffs means so much more. And we saw that with the Boston Celtics a couple of years ago when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward weren't playing. Nobody expected them to do anything. Obviously, Jason Tatum was nice, but they blossomed because they stepped up.
Exactly. And let's say last year, Wall came back and played in the bubble, and Washington ended up taking Orlando out before they could play in the playoffs. We wouldn't know. Vucevic wouldn't be having the season he is right now if he didn't play against Milwaukee. He wouldn't. Vucevic clearly said the experience he got from the Milwaukee series unlocked more pieces to a game, and that he's grateful that he had that to take into this year. So that should tell you that these young players are going to need high-pressure games and a playoff series to know. When Orlando made the finals in 2009, back then, they got swept in the first round the year before, I believe so. So it's clear that playing players in meaningful games helps.
Exactly. I feel
like there's a reason we see bad teams be bad every year.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the thing is, I don't know. I feel like they should kind of go towards the 2009-2010 Magic team. What they did, they built around Dwight. But as you could see, like Dwight, even though he was the best player, he wasn't always the main vocal part of their offense. They had Hedo Turkoglu, they had Jameer Nelson, they had Rashard Lewis, they had Jason Richard. I don't know if he was on the team at that time. JJ Redick. They got so many players that were so pivotal to their success. If you have Vucevic doesn't seem like the one to hog the ball or like take touches away from other players.
They don't run plays for Vucevic. They run the offense through Vucevic, but they don't run plays for him.
Exactly. So if you have Vucevic doing his thing without having so many touches and you let your young guys take over, then I see Vooch being a part of this team. And I wouldn't mind if Bamba came off the bench as long as he's still playing with the young guys, because he needs to play with people who can set a place for him, who he's comfortable playing with, you know?
And even if you look at great teams, their bench unit, they're great. If to compare them against the old, not going to say the 09 team, let's say the 10 team where the backups were Matt Barnes, JJ, Gortat, like that team, that bench unit was solid. And again, to your point as well, the young guys, Jameer was like 23 years old when they went to the finals. Dwight was young. Hito and Rashard might have been the primes. Courtney Lee was a rookie. So ideally for this team is that eventually Mo Bamba and Vooch would just be able to switch roles, where Mo takes over as the starting center and Vooch becomes our sixth man.
I love that. I love that idea.
That's something that this team might want to do, because they don't necessarily have to let go, because I think this team's like a player away or one of these young guys to take over. And it sucks because we can't see that this year because of all these injuries. I thought it could have been JI, but we won't see it until next season.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in my opinion, I think the guy might already be on this roster, or you bring in another veteran. But I think Vooch can ideally be the sixth man to this team once he exits his prime and Mo Bamba's ready to take over.
Yeah, no, I've always said that, because you don't want to move on from a guy like Vooch. Because tell me, who's going to play like him besides Nikola Jokic? No, DeMarcus Cousins ain't going to play like him. Dwight Howard doesn't play like him. Joel Embiid, okay, yeah, he kind of plays like him. Vucevic does so much. He's like a 20, 10, and 5 guy. There's not much of that in this league. And the fact that he's okay with so many other players getting touches for the basketball shows you he'd be willing to take a six-man role. And the fact of the matter is, he'd probably still be one of the most important players on the team, but he'd be okay with taking the six-man role.
And we've seen this team can stay healthy, so there's not to say that Mo doesn't get hurt. Vooch would be perfect to step back into the starting unit.
Exactly.
And if anyone thinks the bench is important, the best two teams in this league right now are the Lakers and the Nets. Their bench units are stacked, whether it be in Brooklyn, it's like Karis LeVert, DeAndre Jordan, Joe Harris, whoever you want to bring off the bench, Jeff Green. And then the Lakers, they have Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell. So why are you trying to like just break this bench? Yes, Mo Bamba needs to take steps, but he needs to win. There's steps to this. And if he isn't ready to start, he's going to be a very good piece off the bench behind Vooch. And Vooch isn't going to be in his prime forever either. So whenever Vooch is ready to swap roles, and then it happens, and then your bench just gets that boost. So I just don't think it's necessary to just say we need to trade Vooch, especially when it's clear that other teams are going to give us equal value in return.
And the thing is, our bench, I feel like people overestimate what benches do. They don't have to be spectacular. You don't need the big names on your bench. Your bench is supposed to come in and do a steady and solid job of keeping you in the game. They're not supposed to give you a 20-point lead over the team. They're not supposed to come back when you're already down 20 points and put you back into the game. They're supposed to do their thing. Exactly. Like, we know what Ross can do when he's consistent. Even Okiki at the beginning of the year, he wasn't scoring a lot, but his defense was elite. I saw Jonathan Isaac type defense. I'm like, okay, if he's not scoring, he's
rookie defense.
Sorry?
Rookie JI defense. JI, his defense was another level. But yes, Okiki always seemed to be in the right spot.
Exactly, yeah.
And a bench unit when this team was supposed to be after this year was gonna be Cole Anthony, Chuma, Mo, MCW, and Ross. Like, that's great. Chuma was also supposed to be a good shooter. And let's not forget that shooting exists on this team. They're hurt, but it is on this team. And I think before we move on from this, that this team, the bench unit, before they got hurt, there was a lot of times in the past where the Magic won in spite of their bench. But we've seen already this year that the Magic won a game because of their bench.
Exactly. Well, do you think Aminu should be part of the rotation when he comes back or no?
Depends who's back. If Chuma's there, then maybe you put Chuma back to the 3, Aminu at the 4, and then like Ross at the 2 and MCW at the 1 since there's not going to be a call off the bench this year. Maybe Aminu does get back into the rotation.
Because I think Aminu takes Clark's position.
Oh yeah, but my thing would be does he beat out James Ennis?
That's true.
Because if Dwayne Bacon's playing as he's playing now, I don't know if Aminu takes.
The thing is with Bacon, he's kind of inconsistent though.
What I've learned is that Bacon isn't necessarily a great shooter, but he's a good scorer.
That's true. Yes.
And let me say this: I'm gonna be pissed off if Aminu gets back and from day one he's in rotation. But I gotta hear that Mo Bamba's conditioning isn't ready to play minutes.
Mm-hmm. They always talked about Mo's conditioning and everything, and I'm like, bro, I know he had COVID and everything, but don't tell me it takes that long to get back into conditioning. Like seriously, like you're telling me it took him what, September? Okay, season for us.
Like I get it. There's been no practice.
Mm-hmm.
It just better play the same way to Aminu. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, Aminu shouldn't take President over Bamba for sure.
No.
Aminu should not come back.
Standards better be the same thing to Aminu as his conditioning isn't there yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Yeah.
So one question before we do prediction: if this team is competing, do you trade Evan Fournier?
You mean competing and winning games, or just like?
Yes, they're winning games. They're like 6th, trying to get into 5th, might fall into 7th. Do you trade Evan Fournier?
Okay, 2 things. It depends who's back. It depends if Michael Carter-Williams is back. Because I feel like even though I don't like seeing him shoot the ball, he does bring energy and hustle to this team that's very much needed.
All right, then you must have forgotten how Michael Carter-Williams looked trying to play like Fournier. Coming off screens. You must have.
Bro, I saw this guy guarding Shea on OKC, and that was the game that I think Evan Fournier like went out before. And so Coach Cliff put him into the starting lineup, and his reason was to stop Shea. I'm like, bro, this guy put up like how many points on your head, bro? And you told us he was the guy supposed to. I know he's a good player. I know Shea's a great young player. You're telling me you put that guy into the starting lineup to guard that guy, and he did that still.
I lost it when MCW decided to take a step back mid-range jumper in transition.
We could have that. I'm pissed about the game because we could have won that game. We could have easily won that game.
Yeah,
we
shot didn't fall. And that's the game I noticed. I'm like, yeah, this team needs Evan to win games.
So to answer your question, I would say I was gonna piss off a lot of people. I think we keep Fournier. I don't. If at that point we're still competing and winning, I don't see a reason to trade Fournier. I don't think he's part of the future. But for the rest of the season, with the injuries that are keeping players out for a long time, for example, J.I. and Markelle, I don't see a reason to move on from Fournier this season if we're still competing, because then it just takes away from what we're trying to do.
So
am I saying that?
Yeah. So for me, if this team's like the floor fell out underneath us, and we're gonna go into the lottery anyways, then yeah, you move Evan just to see what you can get. But if these teams competing, I agree. I've never had a problem with Evan, even though
never had a problem.
So okay, let me put this. Even though he's taking shots at me, I've never had a problem with Evan. I understood that it was more of the role he was put into play. And I think it was clear this year that when his role is different, how good he looks. Yeah, it was frustrating because to me, Evan Fournier has never been inconsistent in terms of getting his shots up, in terms of getting his numbers, in terms of contributing. But what was inconsistent was how he did it. Some nights he would look like Joe Harris, play off the ball. When he gets the ball, shoot, attack. But other days it would be like he would get the ball, like hop back, and then size up the defense, and that's when I'm like, okay, here we go. But that's not what his role was to start the year. And this is the Evan Fournier where I'm like, I can get behind it if he stays healthy. Does he stay past this year? Probably not. maybe depends what happens in the offseason. Sign and trade. You maybe resign him on a team friendly deal, whatever. But I think for this year, certainly you have to keep him if you're competing. And then the question is whether or not you keep him during the summer. He's probably not part of the team's future. If you're gonna try the Cole Anthony Markelle duo, which I think letting Cole struggle now is gonna do wonders for him in the future when he's starting next to Markelle. And his job's gonna be a lot easier. But for now, I think you gotta keep Evan.
Yeah, I agree. I already know I was gonna piss off a lot of people, but I want to stay competitive, and I feel like Fournier is the only way we do that. Because clearly we have nothing. If Ross isn't getting it going, if Gordon struggles with the shooting,
yeah,
we have nothing. We have nothing.
Yeah, we really don't have anything. All right. So prediction for the next week, we have Milwaukee, Boston twice, and Brooklyn. Keep in mind that for Boston, Tatum's not going to play.
Yeah.
Tristan Thompson's not going to play. And either Robert Williams isn't going to play, I think. So with that in mind, what is their record in the next week?
So Milwaukee, Boston twice, and Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Oh my heart is saying 2-2. I say we split it with Boston. I feel like we get the win against Brooklyn and we lose against Milwaukee.
I think we beat Brooklyn.
Yeah, because I think Durant's out right now.
But I think Durant's gonna be back by then. His
maybe 1-3. Maybe 1-3. I still say we with Boston. I feel like I have to say 0-4. I don't. Okay, if Evan Fournier is back, and Michael Carter Williams is back by the Boston games, I say for sure we split against Boston and we win against Brooklyn. I think we do. If the Hornets can take out Brooklyn, I say if we're competitive and we're putting in the effort, we should be able to beat Brooklyn. Now against Milwaukee, it's a complete other story.
Oh, man.
We're actually about to get blown out that game. I can already sense it. But yeah, I want to say 2-2.
Yeah, so I think this thing goes 1-3. My prediction 1-3. I think he's maybe split against Boston. I think one of those games is gonna be with like Pritchard or Taco.
Bro, if Pritchard's the reason we lose, bro,
I think we split against Boston. I think Milwaukee does a number on us. And then Brooklyn, depending who's playing, because they've already rested our players. Brooklyn may be winnable, but I just don't see it. Because we've seen them under man just completely destroy Philadelphia.
Yeah, So
I think this thing goes 1-3 next week.
So your predictions based off of Evan Fournier and MCW come back?
Not MCW, just Evan Fournier.
Okay. If Michael Carter Williams comes back, does that change anything or no?
They might be able to steal one from Brooklyn. They might.
Okay. I mean, that's not horrible, but yeah.
I'm just scared what Kyrie's gonna do to Cole Anthony.
He'll be ready. He'll be ready by then. I think he'll know what he has to do against Kyrie Irving.
Because against Boston, it's gonna be like Jeff T. So I think he'll be able to handle that. But Jrue Holiday and Kyrie is gonna suck for Cole Anthony.
It is. But I feel because I feel like tonight's loss was like almost giving up in the third quarter. When you saw them go on that run, I feel like it was over because they literally went on almost like a 12-2 run, and I'm like,
so I don't
do that.
They didn't give up per se. Is that the bench unit right now has little to no offense if Ross isn't clicking. That's what happened. You took out AG and there was no one to facilitate. So I think that's the reason what happened in the third quarter. And then
I don't even get why Bamba didn't even play this game. It makes no sense. He played well last night, and how do you reward him? Oh yeah, you get 0 minutes today.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say to Coach Cliff. I wish I was a reporter so I could ask him these hard questions.
After we're done recording this, I'm gonna go watch the press conference because I thought Mo was gonna play. I thought Birch was gonna get 1 minute up to 4.
I thought yesterday was like the startup. Okay, like he basically played 1 quarter and he
all played Cousins for being honest.
He did, and this guy didn't get any playing time today. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't. All right, that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Omar. Appreciate it.
Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out my Instagram, Joshua Richard 19_. I'll send it to you in case I screwed that up. I just want to appreciate you having me on the show. I appreciate you talking about the Magic with me. I love talking with the Magic with anybody that will listen to me and not hate on the Magic. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. His link will be in the description to his Instagram. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video. See you guys next time. Peace out.
Peace.